So here we go. Welcome to another video, and Town are heading into their fourth campaign in League One. Hopefully this will be the year we get playoffs, promotion, all that sort of stuff, but we can talk about it later on. But of course today I'm joined by good old Mark Heath as we discuss, and he throws out a few names on players who have a point to prove this season. Can they be the cog in this machine that get us promoted? Heathy, thanks for joining me first of all. Chuck in your first few names for us to debate and talk about.
Yeah, they might. I've got 8 names here, Ross. Some of them might be controversial. Probably my first one is going to be controversial, but I'll explain my working out. Clearly, as you say, Town, 4th season in League One. They've got to mount a promotion push this season. And to do that, there's a lot of players in what is quite frankly a really good squad, a talented squad, that have got to step up. So I've named a few of them. I'm about to name a few of them. And let's have a chat about it. I'm going to start, though, friend, with the captain, Sam Morsi. Now, I must stress, Sam Morsi has got nothing to prove as a player. He's potentially the best midfielder in League One. He's a great leader, inspirational, wears his heart on his sleeve, fantastic captain for Town. But if Town are going to get promoted this season, he'll be doing something that someone hasn't done for almost quarter of a century, and that is captain Town to a promotion season, which is a big ask. You know, it's a good squad, but it needs leadership on and off the pitch, and Morsi is that man. So I just feel like he's the sort of guy that probably feeds off being questioned and being challenged. We know last season, when you said the season was dead, he wanted to prove you wrong. He didn't ultimately. And that's why I've included him on this list, because I want him to feel challenged, if he watches this or not. He's a brilliant player and a fantastic captain for Town, but he's got to prove that he can lead this team now to success, which, as I say, is something that someone hasn't done for a long time. Matt Holland back in 2000, unbelievably, was the last time we had a captain take Town up. So can Sam Morsi be that captain, write himself into Town history and be that iconic leader of men that the club need this season? I hope so, but we will see.
I think that's a good point. I don't think it's controversial. I'm sure there some Town fans will be thinking, Sam Morsi, what you on, Heavey? What you on? But I think he's a man who's going to be leading by example. He's got his own standards, and I'm sure his standards is to win every game, like any captain. So I think he definitely has got a point to prove, because this will be his second season at the club. He's had a full pre-season this time. Last year he came in on deadline day. We had already had a few games. We lost 5-2 against Bolton. Sorry to repeat that, ladies and gentlemen, but that happened. So I'm sure he's going to be wanting to kick on, and this will be the season. He's won promotions before at Chesterfield, at Wigan, so I'm sure he wants to do that with Town. And as you said, we haven't had a captain who's led this side to a promotion. Even Luke Chambers, the amount of years he was up the club, won playoffs in his campaign, and of course a relegation as well. So there we go. Sam Morsi first up. Next player.
I'll just mention on Morsi as well. He'll be 31 years old by the time next May comes around. So clearly, Ross, you'd have him out the door. But, you know, so he's turning into that prime age for a player. He won't want to spend another season in League One, season after. So, yeah, there's a challenge for him. A few more goals would be nice as well, wouldn't they, Rossi? Maybe not quite so many silly scuffles, although I do like the way he plays on the edge. So I wouldn't want him to turn it down too much, but we will see. So Sam Morsi's my number one. Number two is probably the player, I would say, of 2 players in this squad that people go, well, this is obvious who's got the most to prove. And that's Rhys Harper. I can't believe that anyone would have an issue with this. Clearly came into Town last season, great deal of fanfare, fantastic pedigree. Quickly lost his starting spot, didn't he, when Morsi came in, and ended up being relegated on loan at Crewe. So he has a massive point to prove. As I say, he's still young, serious pedigree to him, played in the Premier League, but now he's going to be in a position where he's going to start, at least you'd imagine, as a backup player in midfield, isn't he, to Morsi and Evans and Ball, whoever wins the starting spots there. We'll come on to that maybe in a minute. So, yeah, Harper has a lot to prove, though, doesn't he? Because you feel like he's getting now to the point in his career where if he doesn't start producing it consistently, he's going to just drop through the leagues, isn't he? Which clearly, as a young man, is not something that he wants to do, and someone with a lot of talent. So the hope is for me that, as I've said many times on the podcast, we've seen that McKenna can improve players. And what can he do with Harper? And Harper's got to buy in to McKenna and what he's trying to do with his coaching team this pre-season, this summer. So for me, I'm quite excited to see what Rhys Harper can do next season and where he plays. Will he be a midfield backup? Will he find somewhere else McKenna for him to play. He played in the centre of defence, didn't he, against Needham? I'm not sure we'll see him there too often. But yeah, certainly a big question mark going into this season over Akeem Harper. Has a lot to prove, I would say. What about you?
He's a big one. He's definitely a big one. But I think the big thing is Kieran McKenna in charge.
Yeah.
We've seen that already, that he's improved players already. Kieran Jackson came out of nowhere. I'm hoping Raheem Harper, like all of us really, when he signed, we were like excited, weren't we? You know, you nicknamed him the Dream and all that. He
Yeah.
got loaned out the Crew. That was not great. But hopefully he can have a proper pre-season kick on. And yeah, he's going to have a challenge to get in that midfield because, yeah, Sam Morsi, Lee Evans, Dominic Ball and all that sort of stuff. But I'm excited to see what we can do with Raheem Harper because he's still young. He's still a young lad. So bring it on, Raheem. See how he does this season. Next player then, Heavey.
Well, the next player is probably the other player that would rival Raheem Harper for biggest point to prove on most fans' kind of minds if they were asked a question, and that's Joe Pigott, the striker. Obviously came in much like Harper last summer, a lot of fanfare. He was going to be the man that got all the goals as Town inevitably marched to promotion. Didn't quite work out like that for him or for Town. Only scored 3 goals, I think, in 29 games. Hasn't scored since October. Clearly had some issues off the field as well. Lost his dad last season, sadly. So not a year that he'll remember with any fondness at all. But clearly, there's still a question around Joe Pigott. We need someone to step up and score goals for Ipswich Town. We need that proverbial 20-goal a season striker. Now, can Pigott be that man? Can he play even as a lone striker, Ross? Where is he best? And obviously, another big question is: will he even be at the club come the start of the season or the end of the transfer window? Because clearly, you'd imagine they may be interested in him. Town, you'd imagine, would look to bring in another striker this summer. So where does Pigott fit? And if he's still here, can he start scoring goals, which is the job that he's brought in to do? Can he be a valuable member of this team? We need someone to score those goals. Can it be him? What do you reckon, Rossi?
I feel so sad about Joe Pigott. Every time I hear his name, every time I see a picture of him, I just feel like, oh, what could have been, what could have been, last or 2 seasons ago now, he was scoring the goals for Wimbledon, kept them up, joined us, and I thought, oh my God, we've finally got a striker who can score in League One, and it just hasn't worked out for him for different reasons. Sadly, as you said, his dad passing away, and just the system and just how we were playing just didn't suit him. And of course, McKenna came in, and McKenna gave him a chance. He played a few games, started a few times. I just didn't work out for him, and he is proven at this level, but I just don't think he fits what we want. When I watched him at Needham Market, I just felt sorry for him. He just once again just didn't look great. But that's only pre-season. I'm sure he's going to be with the lads. He's at Loughborough now. He's going to be working his butt off. But is he the man to lead that line? I just don't think so. But he's got a point to prove. I know he's got a lot of critics at Town fans with stuff like that. So can he sort of push on and be that man up front? We'll have to wait and see. But we shall see.
We shall see.
Next player.
Next player is another midfielder. Maybe slightly more controversial than Raheem Harper because it's Lee Evans. Now, Evans started last season, one of the first names on the team sheet. Was much maligned at times, wasn't he? As Town kind of struggled in those early games under Paul Cook. Then he scored that hat-trick against Doncaster and completed what can only be described as one of the best knee slides ever seen. Probably the best ever seen at Portman Road, I would say. And then when they were both fit and available, he had a nice little partnership going, didn't he, with Sam Morsi, doing a bit more of the dirty work and the tracking back to allow Morsi to get forward. Clearly, they've played together and been successful before. But now, obviously, he missed, I think, the last 2 months of the season with injury. Now he's got another battle on his hands, hasn't he? To actually start. Can he beat out Don Ball, who's obviously been brought in to challenge to start in midfield? Has looked impressive. We've seen of him at Needham and clearly has played at a high level. So can Lee Evans, win that starting position alongside Morsi? You'd imagine Morsi's going to be a starter no matter what, captain of the club and for everything we've already discussed. And then can he be a valuable member of the team? Can he continue to do what he was doing with Sam Morsi next season? So an interesting one. I think it's probably less to prove in terms of what he's already done, but still there are questions to be answered, I think, with Lee Evans.
I like Lee Evans. I'm a big fan of Lee Evans. I think he just looks like your typical footballer. He's got the look, the way he sort of walks around the pitch. I think he just looks that typical footballer, and I do like Lee Evans. And I think he was just him and, as I said, you said Sam Morsi, his partnership with him. They were just clicking, and then he got that injury, and I just felt, oh no. Of course, Baxton came in, and other players sort of partnered Morsi. But I just thought that was the perfect time they were clicking, and then he got that injury, and we didn't see him again, until we saw him at Needham Market. But I think he's going to be a key player. I think another key character in the squad as well. But as you said, I don't think he's got a massive point to prove, but I think he probably wants to make that return from that injury and kick on and challenge Dominic Ball, challenge anybody in that position, really. And I think he's another leader on that pitch. He was given the captain's armband before Morsi came in, and that was sort of, I think, maybe too much pressure for him. But I think he's another leader on that pitch. So, yeah, I think Lee Evans, this could be a big season for him, and I hope so too, because I'm a big fan of him. Big fan of him. All right, and Heathy, next player.
Continuing the theme of players with points to prove coming back from injury, and for me, alongside Rhys Harper, this is a player who might prove to be the most exciting player of the season, is Kyle Edwards.
Yep.
Again, we've seen what he can do. Clearly, he was electrifying at the start of last season. And then it started to there were questions about lack of end product, weren't there? No goals, no assists. Yes, he's brilliant, very exciting to watch. But what is he actually bringing to the team? And then obviously he got injured and missed the last 2-3 months of the season. So for me, the questions are twofold. Can he add the end product to his game? Can we start to see the goals and assists that a player like him should be providing? And probably even before that, where does he play? Can he win a starting position in this side? Clearly, he's a very talented winger. Wes Burns is nailed on, pretty much first name on the team sheet alongside Sam Morsi, you'd say, at right wing back. So where's Edwards going to play? Can he play opposite him? Could he play the left wing back role? You'd imagine those two together would be bloody exciting, wouldn't it? Running at League One defences. But can he play that side? McKenna's kind of hinted before that he sees him more as a right-sided player. And in which case, he's not going to play, is he, behind Wes Burns, unless he can maybe play a bit further forward. So, yeah, twofold questions for me. Where does he play? Can he play? And then can he actually add numbers, stats to his game alongside all these swashbuckling runs? We saw him at Needham. He looked very good, didn't he? Like he bulked up
as well.
Looked like he bulked up a bit, got some more strength to his game, as well as the trademark kind of electrifying runs. So for me, it's another big season for Kyle Edwards to prove that he can be an elite player at this level. And I hope he does, because I bloody love him.
Yeah, he's that, once again, that sort of exciting player that gets your bums off it, your seats and stuff like that. And I know it's only Needham Market, but some of the runs he was making, some of the touches, even just some of the crosses, I think he does need to improve his end product. We want him to score goals as well. We can't just rely on a striker or Wes Burns and other players. I think he needs to get involved with goals. So I think he's got a big point to prove. This is a big season for him.
Where would you play him, Rossi, though? That's the problem, isn't it?
I think the good thing is he's versatile. I think he can, battle Wes Burns for the right wing back position. I think that's always good to have options there. I think left wing back as well, or left back, wing could work. Just where if McKenna thinks he fits best, really. But I think that's good that we've got players who are versatile. Once again, the midfield, as we've already mentioned, Evans and Morsi. I think we've once again got a lot of depth there, and it's a long old season, League One. 46 league games, and we've got cup games, suspension injuries can happen. So I think we've got great players like that who can fit in different positions. And Edwards is just like that. He was on the right because Wes Burns was still, resting from international duty. But we shall see in the West Ham friendly and all the other friendlies, where these sort of players will fit. And Kyle Edwards is going to be the, big talking point throughout this preseason, because he has got a massive point to prove. I think out of the whole squad, he's the man up there as well, Rhys Harper.
I wonder if he might end up, or at least start, as a kind of impact sub, because clearly you can make 5 subs now this season, so you can actually change things at half time without worrying about wasting subs. And imagine if you're a League One defender who's kind of in the red zone, as it were, 65 minutes gone, and then the board goes up and you look over and you see Kyle Edwards coming on, fresh as a daisy. All he wants to do is tear you apart. That would be terrifying. So yeah, I mean, maybe start the season as impact sub and work his way into the team from there. But in terms of an impact sub, you couldn't probably have a better one than Kyle Edwards in League One. So
I think that's a good shout, though. That's a massive shout. Like, once again, I think those substitutions are going to become definitely for us. We've got a big squad. There'll be other League One clubs who have just about got enough to fit on the subs bench. For us, we're going to have players who are going to be left out of the 18, and definitely impact subs. I think that's what we didn't maybe use as much last season. Players to come on to really impact the game, and Kyle Edwards could be that man. Okay, then next player.
Next player, I've got 3 left. I'm going to go with another striker. I'm going to go with Kieran Jackson, because Kieran Jackson, I mean, in terms of a turnaround at Ipswich Town, was tremendous, wasn't it, last season? We had him mocked up on the front of the supplement, the pre-match supplement, as a zombie back from the dead, because that's literally what happened. Well, not literally, but in terms of footballing sense, that's what happened. He was on his way out the door. Paul Cook clearly didn't fancy him, and then under Kieran McKenna, he's come back from the dead. And at the time he went down with a hamstring injury, he was Town's most informed striker, wasn't he? I think he had 4 goals in 6 games before he went down injured. So he's shown that he can do it under McKenna, and he signed a new contract. Now, going back to what I said earlier about Joe Pigott, can he be the man? Is he capable of being the man that's going to get those goals that can fire Town up? We know we need more goals. He scored goals. Where's he going to play? Can he be the main striker? Lots of questions still, I think, around Kieran Jackson, despite that kind of mini revival. What do you reckon, Rossi?
I'm very 50-50 with Kieran Jackson. I think he has got ability. He's got qualities that I like, but he's also got things he needs to work on. He's not prolific. He's not been prolific when he's been here. He's scored goals here and there, and I think that spell everybody were like so happy for him, really, because he basically got spinned off by Paul Cook, nowhere to be seen. We thought he was going to leave, and then come in, score those goals, as he said, then gets a new contract, which is brilliant. And of course, the injury, we've spoken about that multiple times. That was that's bad for anybody when you get that injury when you're in amazing form. But I think this is another big season for him to really kick on. But a player that can play multiple positions, he can play on the wing if needed. He can play in a 10 role, play up front. But can he score the goals that we need? Because we need to score goals to get out of this division. We didn't do that last year. We didn't score enough goals. Even under McKenna, we didn't score enough goals. The last part of the season. I know we scored 4 against Charlton, but they're on the beach and we just need to score more goals. So I think everyone needs to come in, and Kieran Jackson, he's a striker. You got to score goals, mate. If he doesn't, then see you later, because I don't want players who are not scoring. But yeah, big season for Caden. I'm pleased for him getting his new contract, and we should see how he gets on.
Yeah. I've got 2 players left, Rossi. They're both defenders. I'm going to start with a guy who could be on this list, feels like every season, and that's Kane Vincent Young. Because KVY, you hark back to that brilliant, I think it was a 9-game spell, wasn't it, when he was absolutely electric, and everything that was good about Town seemed to come through him. He was scoring great goals and playing great passes, just fantastic. And then obviously he's had this long injury nightmare, and we've yet to see him be that player again. And you wonder if really he will ever be that player again. And again, where does he play now in this side? Can he play at one of the wing back positions? You'd imagine he can. Or is he going to be kind of left further back in the back 3? If they are going to play a back 3 again next season, we don't know. So yeah, KVY, clearly a wonderful, wonderful talent. It must be so frustrating, all those injuries he's had, that your body, to have that talent and the body keeps letting you down. It must be so frustrating for a professional athlete. But he has to be on this list, because we need to see the old KVY again. If he can get into the side and get a run of games, he could be a surprise package this season. What do you reckon?
It's a running trend in this squad. I always feel sad for some players when you just look at them and you're just like, oh, what could be? As we said, Joe Pigott earlier, with KVY as well, he has flashes of just brilliance. And, you once again, another player that gets you off your feet, and, you look forward to seeing him in action. And as you said, that great spell when he first signed, and then he just hasn't worked out for him since. That injuries, even when he's come, for the Bolton game, he got substituted off because it wasn't having a good game against Bolton. And he hasn't really recovered from that, really. He had a few spells, under McKenna, then suffered like another little knock. Once again, I know it was only against Needham, but he impressed me against Needham. I think just seeing the players again and just seeing them do little bits and bobs, it just gets you excited, don't you? But KVY, another versatile player, which I think is what we're going to need in League One. Players who can play different positions, another option. But yeah, this is a big season for him. I don't know how many years he's got left on his contract. Maybe this could be his last year, and then we've got the standard Town option. So he needs to kick on. But I think he's going to once again have a player who is going to thrive under McKenna, because he's still a young lad as well. So yeah, this is a big season for him. And I know a lot of Town fans are always excited to see KVY on a team sheet, and hopefully this will be his season. So what's the other defender then?
So the final defender, obviously, in terms of defenders, the starting 3 at the back are pretty much nailed on, aren't they? But there's someone else coming back into the mix this season, Rossi. Someone who has been the next big thing literally, in terms of physical size, for quite a while. He's now the self-proclaimed strongest player in League One. I am, of course, talking about Corey Ndaba, who comes back into the fold after a brilliant loan spell at Salford last season. Had his own injury issues there, but came back stronger than ever and really, really impressed there. I think he won an end-of-season award, didn't he? Fans Player of the Year or something along those lines. And now he comes back into a town side where, for a long time, we've been talking about him making the breakthrough into the first team. So is he going to do it? Are we finally going to see it this season? You've got Edmondson, you've got Wolfenden, you've got Donatian as the three at the back. Can Ndaba break into that? He played on the left at Salford. He's very, very comfortable on the ball. Seems to fit what McKenna would like to do with the system. But can he actually break his way into the team and get a starting position? Because on paper, you look at him and he's got everything that you'd think McKenna would want from a defender. He's physically very large, very athletic, comfortable on the ball. He can go forward as well. I think he actually played in midfield at times last season for Salford. So clearly, someone very comfortable with the ball at his feet. But for me, it's one of these things, isn't it? We've been hearing Corey's name for what seems like forever as someone who's going to come through. This could be the season it happens. Needs to be, really, because he's been away on loan. So now after you come back from loan, you have to break into the side, don't you? Otherwise, where are you going? So Corey Ndaba, Rossi, what do you reckon about that?
That's a fantastic shout. This is his fourth pre-season with the first team. He's gone out on loan to the likes of Ayr and Chelmsford City very early in his career. But I think the Salford loan move, League Two football, playing week in, week out, won Supporters Player of the Year there. That injury was a big setback, but then for him to bounce back and really kick on, and it sort of pushed Salford. They missed out on the playoffs in the end, but that was a really good loan spell for Corey. And yeah, this is another pre-season. He needs to kick on. This is the make or break for him, really. But as you said, that defensive unit, that was solid under McKenna. So to push out Emerson, push out whoever, it's going to be tricky. But I think he can do it. I think he's a confident lad. I think he, as you said, the ability on the ball. He's a unit. I think he's going to be a threat in set pieces. I think he will be because he wouldn't be part of the pre-season schedule if he wasn't in the plans. I'm sure they would just straight away go, let's try to find a club for him and sell him or loan him. But I really do hope it could be his year, Corey. And I think I've seen him since he was basically an 18-year-old when he joined the club, playing the under-18s and under-23s. He's always been a player, always stood out for me. And I really do hope it could be his year. Make his league debut. He's made cup competitions. He's done that already. But this could be a chance for him to make his league debut. So I think he's definitely high on this list. Like Rhys Harper, like Kyle Edwards, but I think he's probably the top of this list, in my opinion, because he needs to kick on. He really needs to kick on, and I hope he can do.
You know what's going to happen, don't you? Like we said on the pod before, he's going to come in at left back. Then everyone will shift along. So Edmondson will go into the centre, Wolfenden will go on the right, and Donatian will find himself on the bench again. That's what's going to. It's the way it happens with JD. His career's like this, isn't it? At Town, incredible. Yeah. So we'll see. We've made that prediction. We'll see what happens with Corey this season. But that's my 8, Ross. So there you go. I hope you're impressed.
I'm very impressed. I'm trying to add some more names to that. That's a lot of names. I think we'll be basically doing a 4-11 of players that need a point to prove. I don't think we'll do that. There's a lot of players who I'm sure want to kick on. Like Wes Burns, want to have a point to prove in terms of doing better than he did last year. He wants to basically back up that. He doesn't want to be the one-man League One syndrome where he's just had one good season and the second season, it goes down. I was going to say the shitter basically, but hopefully he can. I'm hoping Connor Chaplin can once again have a good season, score goals, be part of that. And it's just even George Emerson returning from his injury, doing what he can do. Wolfenden as well, kicking on. I'm naming all the players now pretty much, but it's a big season for all the players in this division because 4th year in League One, we need to push for at least playoffs, promotions. We shall see, Heathy. Thanks for joining me, my friend. Get involved in the comments down below. Your thoughts, your feelings on Heathy's list on the 8 players who need a point to prove this campaign. We'll be back for many more videos to come, so stay tuned.